All right, what's going on, everybody? Sorry, I'm running late. It is 3:03. Whew, real late. Here, Monday, New Vienna, Iowa. How's everybody doing today? I'm doing fine. I see in the chat some of you are wondering why I'm late today. It's kind of because I was mowing today. Not exactly, but kind of. So a lot of things. No mukbang for today because my day got kind of flipped around a little bit. But I'll explain that in a minute. But let's see who's here first. We got Martha's here, Tom A.K., Chris McLean, Tony Macias, Ty Matt, Mark Rainey. Mark Rainey is the one who was wondering if I was mowing or napping. I wasn't napping. I was mowing at the other house today, and then I did all sorts of other stuff. I'm like, what was the show Green Acres? What was the one? It's like when they put someone. It was like the opposite premise of like Beverly Hillbillies. Well, instead of taking like the people from the country to like a fancy place, he took the fancy people to the country place. That's kind of me. I'm out of my element, but ready to dive in. Let's see who else is here, and I'll explain more. We got Steve, Laney A, Chris Yao, Louis Becerra. What's going on? Tom A.K., Travis Rogan, Jennifer Herring. Awesome. So what was going on today is we did the mowing. Today was a good day for it because, my mother-in-law wanted to mow her lawn today. So she mowed her lawn, and then she likes to mow the other house, that lawn, and do all that stuff the same day. So she mowed her lawn in the morning, and then we all went over there, me, her, and my father-in-law. The three of us went down there to mow that lawn. And then while I did the mowing, my father-in-law did some like trimming, and my mother-in-law it's not a chainsaw, but it's like a chainsaw but smaller for like trimming hedges. She had one of those out. So we were all getting busy and doing work, making sure the house looked nice. And then after that, I had all these clippings, like from these giant shrubs and like shrubs and hedges. That's my vocabulary for plants of that size. So there were shrubs and hedges and clippings from those things. And we had filled a couple of garbage cans full of that. And so my father-in-law was like, put them back in the trunk. We'll take them into town and put them at the spot. And I'm like, okay. I didn't understand that. So in town here, there is a spot where you can take like if like a tree fell or something like that. And periodically someone goes by and burns that stuff. That just has like a big fire. And so we took it to that spot. It sounds weird, but I'm like, okay. So we did all of the stuff there. And I remember my father-in-law also telling me that there's a place in town where there's like crumbled up blacktop, like the stuff before it becomes blacktop, that people can help themselves to. And he's been putting it at the edge of his driveway because he has a gravel driveway, and where it meets the road, it's kind of like, when you pull out, it like digs ruts and stuff. And so he's been putting that blacktop stuff in there. And I was like, hey, if we're going to that spot and that spot's near that other spot, let's get some buckets and I'll fill them up so that way he doesn't have to do all that lifting. So we did that. So I went to the burn pile and the blacktop pile. So I've been, coming to this town for years. My wife and I have been married for, what year is it now? So we've been married for 13 years. So like I've been coming back to this town for about 15 years, but I've never been to the burn pile, or I don't know how long that blacktop pile has been there, but there's a pile of blacktop. So I got to visit those today. And so I did that, and we filled up these giant 5-gallon buckets with this blacktop stuff. And then when we got back here, we had to unload it and all that stuff. So I've been doing all sorts of things that I've never done before. I've mowed lawn before, but I've never visited a burn pile, and I've never gone to a blacktop pile before. So that's what today was. And then we didn't get back until maybe 1:30 or 2, and then then we had lunch. And so then I kind of got caught up in that. So I just ate, so there's no need for a mukbang. I didn't realize how late it was in the day. I should have thought it through a little bit better, because we had like a leftover smorgasbord, and someone was asking me what we've been eating here, so that would have been perfect. But yeah. All right. So sorry for me rambling, but that explains where I've been, why I'm late. That was my day today. I was able to avoid the meeting that I was supposed to have this morning. I had someone that I work with cover it for me, so I didn't have to risk losing the mustache today. So the mustache lives another day. So we'll see. All right. Julian Gomez says, Kofuzi, I just got the endorphin speed in your favorite color scheme. That's awesome. That endorphin speed, it reminds me a lot of the Kinvara 9 because it's not a black, straight up black version. It's like black and white and like weird like specks of gold on it. And it definitely reminds me of that Kinvara 9. It was kind of like almost like a retro version of the future is kind of what that one reminds me of. I hope you like that one. It looks nice. I'm hoping for like a black and gray version, but I don't think they can't make that Power Run. Well, can't they make that Power Run PB gray? Because the Triumph 17 is gray. So I don't know. Maybe if the Power Run PB can't be gray. I don't know. Brian Wen says, can anyone answer best max cushion shoe for a knee injury? I would say if it's the knee injury, I would look at the Bondi. That'll be the easiest on your knees, I think. Mark Rainey says, sipping on Ex Nova IPA, Aperture Portland beer. I've never had that one. That sounds good. Ricardo Katagiri says, yo, what's going on? Today was 2 miles short of finishing the Marathon du Mont Blanc. Was beginning to feel dizzy and had the way back to Chamonix to run. I ended up running 50K and did the BIRT. I don't know what that is. But, oh, man. Wow. Wait, how long is the whole Marathon du Mont Blanc? If you ran 50K. I didn't know it was more than a marathon distance. That's crazy. Daniel M says, Oregon beer is the best. I also miss Rainier's, though. Awesome. There's a lot of good drinking in that part of the country. Beer and wine is very good up there in the Pacific Northwest, I will say. Let's see. Oh, so I've been working on some more sound effects, and we've got someone in here who's trolling a little bit. So I thought the sound that I would do, because I was looking for a hooray sound or some other sound that I could do for, like if someone has like a PR or something. So I thought I would do this one maybe. I thought I'd try it out here. Let's check this out. Then I was like, well, I don't know if I like that one or not. But then I also found this one, which I thought would be great for chat room trolls. Here you go. Hooray! There you go. That one's for you, Vince Vanderpeer. All right, you're in timeout now. So, I mean, I don't know. If it were just me, I wouldn't mind dealing with people doing that. But, you know, you guys are in there and you guys are reading the chat and trying to talk to each other and talk to me. So that's what we'll do. I don't like doing that, but oh well. Sterling Wilson says, and this is every time we'll do that. Every time we do that, I don't like to call people out on it because then I feel like it just feeds to someone's weird need for attention. Because you can get positive reinforcing attention here. I'm happy to recognize people that want to actually have a conversation. But so from now on, when you hear this sound, hooray! That just means that I've muted somebody for a little bit. So just so you guys know. All right. Sterling Wilson says, how do you like low drop shoes? Do you think they are more beneficial to strengthening the entire calf muscle? I actually have no idea. I think that for me, I think a lot of it's a matter of preference. The only time I really care about whether a shoe is low drop or a low drop might concern me is if the stack height's really big or if the shoe's like big and clunky. So that's when I'm a little bit more concerned about stack height, concerned about heel drop. Because like I was reading about like the development of the Endorphin Speed and the Endorphin Pro. They wanted it to be a 4mm heel drop shoe to make it more like the feel of the Kinvara. But they tried it, but with all that stack height and with the carbon fiber plate, it just wasn't feeling right at 4mm. So when they tweaked it up to 8mm, that's why that it started feeling a little bit better. It helps you kind of get through the gait cycle a little bit faster. So that's what I think, about that. But like normally, if it's a shoe is like a low drop or a high drop shoe, I don't normally think too much of it. All right. Blas Grabner says, hey, just tested the Adios 5 at semi-slow pace of 144 for 600s, and they felt amazing. Cool. I actually can't do the math in my head about 144 for 600s. Is that a slow pace? Sorry, I'm enjoying a post-lawn mowing beverage. Dave E says, can you help the vegan cyclist how to run? I don't know who the vegan cyclist is. His off-the-couch Ironman was a pretty epic video and was LMAO during his run segment. I'll take a look at that. I'll see. Or if you could, I'll just look up vegan cyclist. I'm sure I'll find it that way. Jody's here. It says, good day, everyone. Awesome. All right. Tony Macia says, I still think you should record your own goofy sounds. Okay. All right. That's funny. Martha says, what's with these trollers? We block them. Okay. So if you guys can block them too, that's nice. Because then that's like I would be worried about that. Jody Run says air horn would be an option. Yeah. I don't know, because then I'd be blasting you guys too. So I just want like a really patronizing sound. Hey, what's going on?
All of Lucky's haircuts saved off.
Whoa, yeah?
Yeah.
How does it look? Not good? You don't like it? Do you think Lucky will like it? Okay. Sorry, the dog got haircut. My dog didn't, but the other two dogs that live here got haircuts today, and the baby is just informing me that she does not like the little dog, the littlest dog that's here. She can walk that one, and they've been really good friends lately, and so I think she's disappointed that the dog got a haircut. Anyway, Stevie76 says, wah, wah, sound for try again. Yeah, I don't want to like encourage them to try again, I guess. But I guess making a sound effect is kind of doing that no matter what I do. We'll see. Yeah.
I'm going to show them this.
No, thanks. You don't need to show them that. Okay. She wants to participate today. Let's see. Rain Runner says, I second sad trombone sound. That's interesting. I like that one. Steve Ehrenberg says, hopefully I'm not saying that wrong. Ehrenberg, I guess that's like a more Midwest pronunciation. Ehrenberg. Have come around on the 1080. 4 runs in, and I'm now enjoying the extra cushion for a change. Best at easier pace. That's the way I liked it. You want the coloring app? Mm-hmm. Okay. You know the better one is on your iPad. Not Daddy's iPad. Let's do this one. Sorry, guys. I got to get the girl set up. Drawing a little bit. Here you go. All right, got it? You can take that downstairs if you want. They want to do some drawing today. Rainwater says, I must have blocked the troller because I'm not seeing trolling. Cool, good. Runner Review says, I'm still cracking up over the Kofuzi cowbell ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling. I think that's got to be it. I think you guys are right. I'm just going to record my own sounds. Wah, wah. Or I got to think of like some sort of like a buzzer sound if I'm like deleting someone's. I'll let you guys know. We'll make a whole bunch. I'll play them for you guys. We can all vote because you guys are going to hear it. So we'll do it that way. Brian Wentz, his favorite hazy IPA, if you like them. I don't think I have a preference for them, but I couldn't name one for you right now. Nathan N says, I made 2 PRs this morning, 10K and climbed to Castle. Awesome. I think that this is the one. Yeah, that's the one we'll play. Oh, and then we got the hooray. It comes right after. Thanks. Great. The app that I'm using plays like one song after another. I have like a list on there. So we'll do the cowbell for, where'd it go? For Nathan N. And then I'll go right into the cheer, the nice cheer. Good job, Nathan. Oh, okay. Here you go. All right, so we're trying it. I don't know if that's the best one, but I like it. Congratulations on your 10K and a climb to castle PR. Julian Gomez says, if marathon come back, will you try another breaking 3 hours attempt? I think so. I think we will. I mean, I guess it depends on how soon it comes back. But yeah, I think I will. I might kind of have like a 2 marathon strategy. The next one being like, I had 2 kind of like unsatisfying marathons in a row. So I want to have like a good conservative one. Although this FKT attempt might kind of like serve that purpose too. So I want to have like a good showing, and then build on that to have like a real another real attempt. I think the next time I gotta like come at it a little bit differently. So we'll see. Let's see. Where was that other one? Oh, Martha says, how about the classic clown horn for trollers? They might confuse any hooray as an endorsement. Okay. I like it. Brian says, my favorite place to visit in the West Coast is Oregon. Love all the beer selection there. That's cool. Martha says, everyone, there's great news on the vaccine front from Oxford and AstraZeneca. Could start being distributed this fall. The older guys will get it first. They're saying higher risk. Yeah. That's great news. That is great news. Very cool. Very cool. I'm very excited for it, but I'm also thinking like I will probably get it. It'll take me a while to get it, I think. Frank Lahooey says there isn't anything clunky feeling about the max cushions from Ultra. Well, that's interesting. That's good. I wonder if are there rockers in them, Frank? Is that how they do that? Because I just feel like if there's a lot of cushion and it's 0 drop, that might feel a little bit awkward to run in. Ryan Secord says, the triumph for the trails may be the Ultra Olympus 4.0. I haven't heard of that one. JB Scott says, the little girl cheer is the best so far. I do kind of like it because it's kind of demeaning, I feel like. I don't know if that, like, whoever made that sound effect, I don't think they intended that, but that's what I hear in it. Is like a patronizing, like, hooray. Yeah. maybe that's just the sound. Hooray. Tony Massey says, guest appearance, hello to the little one. I'll tell you said hi. Let's see. Frank Lahulier says, lady was looking shaggy in the video this morning. She's getting a haircut today too. It's been driving my father-in-law nuts because he usually like feeds her and walks her in the morning. And every time she drinks water, it just gets caught in her like fur. And so like he's like, my feet get wet every time I walk her because she'll drink water and then she'll like look around and it just drips water all over the place. Yeah, that dog is giant. Like every time it poops, I'm just like, I think that's bigger than mine. It's just an amazingly large animal. And my mother-in-law says that like the dog, well, I mean, I kind of can understand it. She says that the dog thinks it's a little dog. And every time she, like, when my kids are around, she doesn't let the dog around in the house because she's taller than them. But the dog is taller than my kids. But she's like, when she lets the dog around in the house when we're not here, she says she'll try and like sit in her lap. Can you imagine that giant dog sitting in someone's lap? That's just ridiculous. I mean, I can hardly even like sit next to it. When Lady the dog even like nudges my daughter, she'll be like, oh, the dog is attacking me. And like I can't tell if she's serious or not, but I've been like watching really closely. She just goes and says hi and like brushes up against her, but it just freaks her out so much because I guess the animal is so much bigger than her. But yeah. So we'll have to see. I'll show you guys a picture of when she has her haircut. I have the groomer that they take her to. I feel like sometimes. Oh yeah. It was one because there's a big dog and then a little dog. The little dog, like when they took over caring for that dog from someone else, and when they got it, the hair was a little bit matted up, and so like the first time they took the dog in, the groomer was like, I'll try to, save as much of the fur as I can, but the dog came back basically shaved. And I think that the groomer is a little bit aggressive on shortening the hair. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I haven't seen the dogs yet. Ronan Review says, I ran in the SL20s last night. Very snappy shoe. I did have to go up half a size. Do you really? That's interesting. I think that the shoe got narrow, or not, didn't get narrow. I don't know, because I've never ran in an SL before. But it seems like all the Adidas shoes got a little bit narrow and longer this year, which is weird. Travis Rogan says, in terms of the trolls, we can look up the trolls' embarrassing pictures on Marathon Photo and post them. Yeah, a lot of times they don't use their real names. That's the thing. Sometimes, a lot of them, I generally find that the some of the older trolls will have usernames that they've been using for a long time. And so, like, I always Google the usernames of the trolls to see, like, where else have they been commenting. And so I usually... the trolls that I see on this channel are like commenting on like Ed Bud's channel, Andy's channel. You know, I see them all over the place. And then I get to see like what their hobbies are too, because sometimes you'll find their comments on like a fishing channel, home repair. You know, it's just all over the place. So it's interesting. Sometimes they have like playlists that they put together, where you can kind of, I mean, most people have a username just so they can comment on stuff and watch videos and like have the algorithm learn kind of like what they like, so that it feeds you stuff that you want. But sometimes when it's like, there's like, when they've taken off like the liked videos, playlist and everything, I'm like, oh, so you've been trolling people before. You're not just angry at me. You're just like, you come here to be an angry person, because you've like eliminated any potential chance of figuring out anything about you if I look up your username, kind of thing. So, Lewis M says, what's everybody up to? What's up, everybody? Glad to make it if I'm a tad late. That's okay. I was a little bit late today too, but I had a big day. I'm like, I mean, like me and my dog are pretty much like very, very similar to each other, I'd say, in a lot of ways. And I feel like with my dog here, who's like an apartment dog, and I take him for like a walk outside, he's just kind of like excited to be there, but also a little bit lost and out of his element. And I definitely had one of those days today. I was shoveling blacktop and throwing lawn, not clippings, but like hedge trimmings onto a burn pile. So some new experiences for me today. Dave E says, anyone else sign up for a CIM? I saw Seth signed up, so I signed up since NYC's canceled. I'm prepared for CIM to get canceled too, though, but I'm keeping hope alive. I don't know. I think with everything that's been going on in California, I would say that you probably, I wouldn't count on it. But then I'll say like, well, what's the next ones that are around that time frame? Houston and Phoenix. But like Texas and Arizona are not like what are the marathons that are in like December and January timeframe? You got CIM, Miami, Houston, Phoenix. Like all those states are hot spots right now. So it's like, guys, let's get it together. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. Martha says, for the vaccine, good news though. Google CNBC, YouTube, Oxford. Millions of COVID-19 doses by year's end. Whoa. Yeah, but think about that though. Millions of doses sounds like a lot, but there's a lot of people. It's going to take a long time. Like, I wonder what a global rollout looks like, even on an expeditious fashion like this. That's where I start to get real nervous. But I'm like, you know what? I'll volunteer to wait. Because I think there's going to be people that need it. Will need it more urgently than I do. But hopefully that's not an issue, and everyone can just like go to your local drugstore and get one. That's what I'm hoping. Sody Max says, what does everyone think of the local legend trophy on Strava? There's not a lot of segments where I am right now, so I'm not familiar with that feature. So I've been looking at it, and I've seen people that do it. I think it's pretty cool. I mean, if you're like a creature of habit, I think it's awesome, because then you're like, you might not be the fastest person, but you can be a local legend if you run the same route a lot. Christine Boos says, good job on the grit performance, Kofuzi. Thanks. I had a lot of fun kind of like keeping track of the miles and thinking about it that way. I don't think that I like really altered my running a terrible amount, but there were some days where I was like, do I do the 5 miles or the 10? I could do a couple of loops today or I could do just one. Definitely was trying to push it a little bit. I had fun with it. It's a good thing. Like, I like that it existed. Tony Macia says CIM is most likely getting canceled. I'm close, so if anything, I'll be a last minute sign up. Yeah, I wonder, does that fill up though? It does, doesn't it? Yeah, it filled up last year. It filled up the last couple of years. All right. Martha says, I'm up for CIM with the hope for a vaccine. I'd like to do the relay again as I did with my 2 nieces last year. Very cool. All right. Raymond Galicia says, any tips on not dying after mile 10 during half marathon distance? My first one this weekend, and it hit me hard. Powered through, though. Awesome. Well, I think that deserves a cowbell. Awesome for the first half marathon. In terms of tips for not dying after the first 10 miles, I could think of like 2 things. One's more immediate, one's longer term. The more immediate thing is work on the pacing a little bit, right? And so if you're really dying at that 10-mile mark, that means that pace you've been carrying through then was a little bit fast. I'd dial it back just a little bit. The other thing would be the longer term thing would just to be run more mileage per week, a lot of easy miles to build more of a base so that you have endurance to pull from to keep you going through all 13 rather than just the first 10. So those are the 2 things. But, I mean, it's your first one, doing your first half marathon during these conditions. I think that's great, Raymond. Good work. Steve Washington said, I did my first miles in the Nike React Infinity. Pretty nice ride. A little pain in the left arch at 4 miles, but I guess that's new shoes. Pain is going away. I hope it does for you. Yeah, that's a good shoe. It was a pretty good shoe. It seemed heavy and a little bit, the platform was a little bit wide, but I think that's what they were intentionally going for that width there. All right. Let's skip down to the end. Sodimac says, crazy how slow you can be and still be a local legend. Yeah, I think the local legend, if I'm not wrong, is just by frequency of running the route. So it's just about like how many times you've done it, not necessarily how fast you are, right? That's what I think. LOL Monster 87 says, disappointed you support Black Lives Matters. Okay. That's okay. Yeah. I mean, if there's another like group you think that I should support instead, let me know. I have a feeling I know which ones you would pick instead if you don't like Black Lives Matter, but maybe I'm reading that one wrong. All right, Aaron Davis coming with the super chat. Awesome. Says St. George Marathon is still on. I'm aiming for that one. Come down for it so I can become a 3-time Kofuzi Run Club participant, and the next beer is on me. Oh man, where is St. George Marathon? Where is that one? I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to feel comfortable going anywhere for a marathon, even if there is one going on right now, because then I'd still have to come back, and that would require some quarantining. But yeah, well, I mean, you gave me the super chat. I'll get you the next beer next time we meet. Louis M says, hey, Kofuzi, would you ever consider the Jordan Trunner Ultimate? No, not really. Yeah. I don't like Jordan stuff. I've talked about it before. I've never tried on any Jordan anything before. I grew up in New Jersey, growing up watching the Knicks. Yes, I know there was a New Jersey basketball team, at least at the time. Now they're in Brooklyn, but I grew up watching the Knicks, so I don't like anything Jordan, except Gatorade, I guess. But there's not like a Jordan flavor Gatorade, so like he just sponsored. I also have Hayden's underwear, so there's that. But like Jordan shoes that just don't interest me. All right. JM122227 says, hello, I'm new to running. I have around 275 miles now, coming from Cat 1 road racing cycling. How much longer should do easy base mile before picking up the pace? I think that it depends. If you have a race coming up and you like speed work is part of the plan, I think that's something that you can start doing. Whenever like the case may be. But I also think that if you're just training now to just run more, I wouldn't. I mean, I usually wait to do any kind of like speed work or like certain workout days until like there's kind of a race coming. Other than that, I usually kind of just run almost all easy miles. So just nice, like comfortable pace. With the exception of if I just feel like running fast, then I'll run fast, you know? So I think it depends on if you have a race coming up or not. And then I would just kind of go from there. Or if you just feel like it to test yourself and just want to like, you know, see how you're doing, that's totally an acceptable thing to do. But I think in terms of like saying like, all right, I've been doing, you know, 5 or 7K runs pretty regularly at a certain pace. Starting next week, I'm going to pick it up. So that way every single day is a little bit is like at a just like increase. So that like my everyday pace is just a little faster. I think that that's kind of not the great way to look at it. Like I think that as you run more consistently, that easy pace will become faster, faster, and faster on its own. And so I wouldn't worry about it in that regard, if that's what you're asking. All right. So F says, just got the Novoblasts. Doesn't compare to the endorphin speeds. How long do you think it takes to break in the Novoblasts? The Novoblasts are, I don't think it needs to break in. I think it like needs to do the opposite of break in because that shoe's so squishy. The first time I ran in it, I really thought it was too unstable to really run a lot in. And it took a couple of runs for it to be like, okay, the initial like super squishiness is gone. And so now it's just a soft shoe. And like now the level of cushioning is right. So that took like 2 or 3 runs to do. All right. Yeah, Chris Yow's clarifying for the local legend says it's awarded to the athlete, and he's quoting, I think, from Strava. It's awarded to the athlete who completes a given segment the most over a rolling 90-day period, regardless of pace or speed. Yeah. Shannon Greenfield says, any tips on increasing Strava followers? I follow you on Strava and did 800 miles last year, and I've done 1,400 to date this year with all the races canceled. Well, that's awesome, Shannon. I don't know. I don't make as much of an effort as I probably should. I feel like as someone who's on social media and runs, so I'm not like a runner that's like known because of my skill. You know, I should be focusing more on Strava as the running community. But the things that I do is I haven't really been focusing on growing there. But one of the things that I did when I was trying to like think about focusing there was I just made sure that there's a photo for every single activity. I mean, like on a day where like I'm doing like a warm up or a cool down and I want to have those recorded as separate activities from the main like event itself, then I won't put like a photo on the warm up or cool down. But I also, what I did was I would put a photo on the main activity. The other thing that I would do if you're looking to gain more followers on Strava is find other Strava athletes that are near you and like start following them and start investing yourselves in their running. And so make it genuine and go out there and don't just like click, follow everybody, but you actually have to go and like become a member of your running community and find all the people that are near you and around you. And then work on like use that locality that you run the same places that you might be battling with each other for local legend status or to have the crown on a segment. And so that way, if you're at a running store or out on the trails, you say, oh, hey, there's people that you know. You may have never actually ran with them, but you know them because you've been following and giving kudos to all their activities and things like that. So that's the other thing that I would do. That's what I did on Instagram as well. All right. Jody Run says, have you thought that instead of donating to an organization, putting that money to support a local athlete so they can buy shoes, equipment, etc.? I have not thought of that. Yeah. But I mean, like, what's your thinking with that one? I mean, I'm interested in what the different angle of that is. Not that it needs to be an angle, but like, what's the rationale, or how would that like? I just haven't considered it. I have considered, one of the things that I have considered is kind of like not creating like a network, but figuring out ways to like support other YouTubers that are like starting out, but that I think have potential. Not investing is not the right word, and like creating like a multi-channel network is not like the kind of thing that I'm also thinking about. But like, how can I, help like foster and not direct, but like be a part of growing the running YouTube community? That is something that I've been giving thought to, though. All right. We had, what was it saying? Frank Laholier says, the easy way to get lots of Strava followers is to hand out lots of kudos. I think that's a good way to do it as well, because I think there are people like, oh, like if someone's like only getting like 14 or 15, kudos on an activity, or in other words, as a regular person, they might look at who the people are that are like giving them kudos. But I think that like if I was getting random kudos from someone really far away, I'd be like, okay, that's cool. But if I was getting someone from like, oh, this person also runs in this area, runs these routes too, and kind of like runs like me, then it's like, oh, then it's like becoming friends with people, Yeah. Running Addict says, who cares about having lots of Strava followers? Just run. I mean, yeah, that's definitely a valid opinion as well. But some people want to have a lot of Strava followers. Maybe they are coaches or aspiring coaches. Maybe they want to have more of an influencer status. Maybe they have YouTube channels, or whatever the reason. I think there are a lot of reasons to want to have a lot of Strava followers, but I don't think the point of having a lot of Strava followers is usually to have a lot of Strava followers, because there's no way to monetize your account on Strava, as far as I know. But it could be interesting metrics for, let's say you're trying to get a job in marketing, or let's say you are trying to sell yourself or your services to brands or to PR agencies. So those are different reasons why. Mark Shankoko says, the Endorphin Speed has replaced the Rincon as my go-to. It's a good shoe. And Rainrunner says, y'all are convincing me to buy. She said y'all. I didn't just say it as y'all. Although I do find myself saying it from time to time these days. Rainrunner says, y'all are convincing me to buy the Speed. Anyone have them in black? Yeah, a couple of people have mentioned that they have them in black. Yeah. It's a good shoe. I'm pretty sure that I'm going to use that one to run my 50K or the FKT attempt. I'm pretty sure that's the one that's going to be it. All right. Let's do a couple more, and then I'll take off for the day. Jody Run says, a lot of large organizations use a large portion of donations and administration costs. Donating directly to a person who needs support means you add more value. Athlete just because, running channel. That's an interesting idea. That is a big concern of mine, and it was a big concern of mine in donating to Black Lives Matter, for example, because you're not donating directly to Black Lives Matter. You're donating to Act Blue, which is kind of like an umbrella organization that like distributes cash in what I think is a borderline uncomfortably opaque kind of way. And so that's why I was like always hesitant at first to donate to them. But I think like I keep trying to like I Google like, Act Blue fraud, Act Blue issues, Act Blue problems, just to see if there's anything kind of like grumblings happening along the internet. I haven't been able to find anything like that in terms of where is the money going. For example, like not to say that it'd be fraud or something like nefarious, but even really well-meaning things, like one of the people that I work with or she used to work with me. She quit last November, but her husband, we're still friends, but her husband served in the military, and he's very frustrated with Wounded Warrior Project because, again, that issue of like not a high enough percentage is going to actually support the organizational mission, and it's going to other administrative costs, paying really high, like salaries, that kind of thing. And so, that's always a concern for me, and that's why I generally like smaller charities too, because they're closer to their mission, and they are, it's a little bit easier to see more transparently into what the organization's doing. Brian Wen says, do you use any rollers or massagers? Nope. I have a roller. It's just a white piece of foam. It's not branded. I bought it at Fleet Feet 10 years ago. And it's just a white piece of cylindrical foam. And then Alex R says, Kofuzi, sorry I'm late. Do you have any experience with running injuries? Fortunately, touch wood, as they say in the UK, or knock on wood, as we would say here in the US, I don't. Not really. Occasionally, my knee will flare up. Usually when I'm running in a stability shoe, that's when it just bothers me to do that. Other than that, I have not had many injuries, so I don't have a lot of experience. Rainwater says, I started using y'all to stay gender neutral. I like that. But like, how's that different? I mean, you could say you all too. I say guys a lot. Like when instead of saying y'all, I say guys. Hey guys, and I wonder if that's off-putting to people, or unintentionally, like, sending signals, that I don't intend to send. So that's the thing. Daniel Kang says, any specific music playlists you prefer while running? Daniel Kang, that's my name of my best friend growing up, who liked basketball a lot. Well, what Asian kid in the 90s didn't love basketball? But and Daniel Kang has Air Jordan avatar. But playlists I listen to while running, normally it's podcasts and books, but when I do for a workout, I'll listen to music. And then I usually like rap or harder metal or rock. And then also I love movie cinematic soundtracks. So like Batman Dark Knight, like John Williams. I love John Williams, like Star Wars, Indiana Jones. Things like that. So those are kind of like the three. Like I think the Disney Tron, like the second, I guess both Tron movies were Disney, right? But the more recent Tron soundtrack is like one of my favorite things to listen to. It's a very obscure album, but I think Daft Punk did it, so it's pretty good. All right. Scott says, thoughts on paying for an online running program like TRE or Run with Hal? And I think this will be the last one for today. I think that they could be really great for people, especially if you've been running on your own for a while. Like there was a question earlier about that someone had been running for a little bit. When do I start picking up the pace? Like that person I think is really great for actually paying for like a program, especially if it's not just like pay me the money and I'll send you the PDF. If it's like, let's talk about it, we'll email every once in a while, kind of like online coaching, but not exactly. Maybe like you get the program plus like a newsletter or like, you get to like submit questions every once in a while, like that kind of thing. That's kind of like that's like my more preferred thing for people that are like, okay, so like I started running during the pandemic. Now what? That's a great time to be buying a plan. Or if you have a very specific time goal, like I'd be a good candidate for it myself because I've been looking to break 3 hours for the marathon. This would be a really great time for me to like pay for someone to like write a plan for me, given on some of what I think my strengths are, where my weaknesses are, and what my goals are. Or if you're trying to BQ for the first time, like those kinds of things, that's where I think that paying for plans are great. But there's also lots of free plans that are out there, or you could buy books as well. So there's lots of different options for you. But I think that for me personally, like I think the best value, it's going to cost more, is when you're not just like paying for like, here's my BQ plan, buy it. When it's something where you get kind of like a little bit of online coaching, or even look for an online coach, might be a better way to do it. Like Mario Fraioli, he is a writer about running, a coach, and he has a really great podcast. I mean, he frequently says like anyone can write you a plan. Coaching is not about writing plans. Coaching is about working with the athlete. And I think that makes a lot of sense to me. And, I mean, that makes sense for him to say as a coach, who is an online coach and an in-person coach, although I don't think he's doing any in-person coaching right now. He might be now, but I don't know. Where like he's competing against people that are like writing plans at much cheaper cost than he would. But I do think that there's more to it than like, here are the workouts that you should do on week 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, all the way to like your race. So that's kind of where I think about that. All right. I think that's a good place to leave it. My dog is barking for some reason. I don't know what he's barking about, but I think I got to go respond to that anyway. But I had a great time talking to you guys today. Again, sorry I was late. Tomorrow, I'll be on time. And I'm going to work on trying to record some sound effects. So maybe we'll have that for tomorrow too. So thanks everyone for tuning in today. Hopefully you guys are staying safe out there on your runs. And I'll see you in the next one.